Wirearm worms are European dragons with a long, worm-like body, either legless or with small limbs. The term worm originally referred to all dragons in Norse mythology, but is now reserved for those with serpentine characteristics. Chaos dragons. These dragons appear in various mythologies and even biblical texts, often associated with destruction and the end of the world. Some of the most famous examples include Jörmungandr, the Midgard serpent from Norse mythology, a massive sea dragon and the child of Loki. According to legend, Odin cast it into the ocean, where it grew so large it encircled the earth, holding its own tail. When it releases its tail, Ragnarok, the end of the world, will begin. Apophis, also known as Apep, Apophis was an ancient Egyptian chaos demon in the form of a giant serpent. It represented all that lay outside the ordered cosmos and was a sworn enemy of the sun god Ra. Leviathan, a colossal water dragon mentioned in the Bible, appearing in the books of Job, Psalms, and Isaiah. Often associated with chaos and destruction, Leviathan was believed to threaten the damned in the afterlife, before ultimately being vanquished. I hope this exploration of dragons has expanded your knowledge of these legendary creatures. Thank you for watching. Yours truly, Mythos the Historian. Dragons have appeared in countless fantasy tales, legends, and mythologies across the world, from the Americas to Europe, and from India to China. However, not all dragons are identical in appearance, temperament, or abilities. These traits vary across different myths. So, I decided to explore and categorize the main types of dragons found in myths and fairy tales globally. Let's begin. The Western Dragon. The Western Dragon is the most recognized type in European folklore and mythology. It is usually depicted as a massive, fire-breathing, reptilian creature with scales and horns. This dragon often has wings, typically leathery like a bat's, though sometimes feathered, along with 2 or 4 legs and a long, muscular tail. In many legends, dragon blood possesses unique properties, such as prolonging life or being highly toxic. In Christian tradition, dragons are often seen as guardians of hoards of gold and treasure, residing in caves or castles. They are commonly portrayed as adversaries of heroic warriors, though some stories depict them as wise and benevolent beings. Dragonettes resemble Western dragons, but are significantly smaller, ranging in size from a fingertip to that of a human. Despite their small stature, they are deadly, hunting in packs and possessing highly venomous blood that can be fatal upon contact. The Chinese dragon, known as Lung or Long, the Chinese dragon is a legendary creature from Chinese mythology. It is often depicted as a composite of various animals: the body of a snake, scales of a carp, the tail of a whale, antlers of a stag, the face of a camel, talons of an eagle, ears of a bull, feet of a tiger, and the eyes of a lobster. Sometimes, it is shown with a flaming pearl under its chin. Chinese dragons are closely associated with water and are believed to control rainfall, rivers, waterfalls, and seas. Their elongated, serpent-like form aids in swimming, much like an eel. Shen is another type of dragon in Chinese mythology, but unlike typical Chinese dragons, it is a shape-shifting creature. This sea-dwelling being can transform into different forms, such as a pheasant, a shellfish, or even a pearl. Its true form is that of a giant, sinuous dragon adorned with shimmering green and gold scales. Instead of sleeping, a Shen may remain in its pearl form for years before re-emerging. The African dragons are less known than their Western or Asian counterparts, and they differ in appearance. Most are enormous, serpent-like creatures, sometimes with legs and sometimes without. These snake-like dragons are deeply rooted in African mythology, appearing in religious stories and folk tales across various regions. Wyverns are dragon-like creatures with only 2 legs, a barbed tail, and no fire-breathing ability. They are typically depicted standing on their hind legs and tail, occasionally using their wings for support. Some depictions show them as wingless, while others feature a narrowed tail. Wyverns are commonly seen in heraldic symbols and logos. Lindworm. The lindworm is a serpent-like dragon that lacks hind legs. Unlike wyverns, lindworms are usually shown as wingless, slithering creatures with only 2 clawed forelimbs. They move in a manner similar to a mole lizard, using their arms for traction. Amphiptyr. The amphiptyr is a dragon with a serpentine body but no limbs, only wings. It is often described as having light-colored feathers, a long, sinuous body, and bat-like wings covered in plumage. Some variations include a spiked tail, bird-like wings, or even a beaked snout. Hydra. One of the most infamous dragon-like creatures, the Hydra is known for its multiple heads, the exact number of which varies between myths. It possesses regenerative abilities. When one head is severed, 2 grow in its place. According to Greek mythology, Hercules defeated the Hydra as part of his 12 labors, using a golden sword given to him by Athena to sever its immortal head. Tarasque. The Tarasque is a unique dragon-like hybrid from French folklore. Unlike traditional dragons, it is described as larger than an ox and longer than a horse, with a lion's head, sharp sword-like teeth, a horse's mane, and a back lined with axe-like spines. It has 6 legs with bear-like claws, a serpent's tail, and tortoise-like shells on its sides. Zmej, the Slavic dragon, known as Zmej Gorenik, is depicted as a monstrous serpent with 3 heads, 7 tails, fiery breath, and smoke billowing from its ears. Its claws are made of copper, and its legend is deeply embedded in Eastern European folklore. Bakunawa. The Bakunawa is a dragon deity from Filipino mythology. It is a giant serpentine creature with 2 sets of wings, long whiskers, a red tongue, and a gaping mouth as vast as a lake. According to legend, Bakunawa once lived in the sea when there were 7 moons in the sky. Fascinated by their glow, it would rise into the heavens to consume them, causing lunar eclipses.